Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to see the topic steps in research process. What is research? Research is search for knowledge. So in the steps in research process, we are searching the knowledge process. So first step says about formulating the research problem. So when we are going to analyze about a problem, we must know what is the nature of the problem. How we can identify there is a problem or problematic area available for a researcher. So the problematic area can be analyzed through different methods. The researcher can interact with some experts whether there is a problem exists in an organization or in different areas. In our MBA classrooms, we are discussing about different fields: marketing, production, HR, finance. So a researcher can go on to identify certain problematic areas in marketing, production, human resource and finance, etc. In the case of marketing, the researcher can go on to study about market share of a company or market share of a product and advertising effectiveness or media influence. In the case of production, the researcher can identify inventory control or stock, etc. In the case of human resource, the researcher can go and identify commitment of the employees or performance appraisal of the employees or potential appraisal of the employees, etc. In the case of finance, the researcher can go and analyze trend analysis or working capital management. So these are the small problematic areas which are available or which are existing in any type of organization. So the researcher has to interact with the experts to identify what are the problem areas available. Sometimes it is very difficult. So the researcher can go on to check the available resources whether any problem is available or not from social related research. So in the second step, extensive literature survey. So in the first step, the researcher identified the research problem. In the second stage, the researcher is going to collect related literatures for the problem areas. So extensive literature survey explains related literatures are going to be collected from different sources. So you can ask a question, sir, where I can go on to collect the literatures? The literatures are available from internet, online resources, books, company websites, etc. So the researcher is going to use all these materials and he is going to evaluate the relevant data for supporting the research problem. The third step is development of working hypothesis. Once the researcher collected the basic relevant literatures for the research problem, then he is going to develop his working hypothesis. You can ask a question, what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is assumption. For an example, normally we consider who is eating more chocolates. We assume this is a question arised. So the researcher wants to identify who is eating more chocolates in Dindigul district. So he can go for analyzing whether it is kids or adult or age old. So he wants to study who is eating more chocolates. Age group of less than 10 or 10 to 35, then above 35 to 50 and above 50. So he wants to know which age group of the respondents, or in the case of kids, adult or age old, who is eating more chocolates. He can go to the market and he can study which age group prefer chocolates. So this is an idea which is going to get from these three steps. So in the case of developing a hypothesis, he can develop an assumption. So normally we come to the conclusion that normally kids are eating more chocolates. So we can develop a hypothesis like, or having an assumption like this: kids are eating more chocolates. But is it so? So we have to go for further analysis which is going to reveal who is eating more chocolates, whether it may be kids or it may be adult or it may be age old. The fourth step is development of research design. So what is a research design? So research design is a systematic manner the researcher is going to develop the steps into the further order. So in the case of research design, the researcher is using different types of research. It may be explorative, descriptive, diagnosis, okay. So we can see one by one what is. So we know what is research design. Research design is a method which is systematically help the researcher to go further into the research. So the research design may be explorative research design or descriptive research design or diagnostic research design. So what is explorative research design? So in this case of explorative research design, the researcher is going to find new insights or new ideas. So explorative means new ideas are going to be developed for this research process. So how we can get the new ideas or new insights? So the researcher has to interact with experts. They may be subject experts or in the field experts. He has to go on to interact with them. Then he can identify certain basic ideas related with the research, or he can collect some literatures. So he can collect basic literatures which are relevant for the research problem. So based on these extensive literatures, he can understand some new ideas. So here he can identify the research gap between what others already did and what he is going to get something new. So that is called a research gap. So in the case of explorative research design, the researcher is going to get some new ideas through interact with experts or from the literatures. So the research gap is identified and further the researcher is going to do his research. Then he can use another one method which is called descriptive research design. What is descriptive research? Descriptive research design means describing the factors which are existing at present in the universe. So it is describing the factors. So it is a fact-finding research. So describing the factors which are existing at present in the universe, or it may be a fact-finding research. So in the case of descriptive research, the researcher is not going to explore anything. That details are already available in the market or in the company. So he is going and collecting the data using different data collections method. So in the case of diagnosis, the researcher is going to analyze the frequency of occurrence of different items in this research design. So a researcher can use any one of these research methods based on the problem, research problem. The fifth stage is development of sampling design. So fifth stage is talking about development of sampling design. Before entering into sampling, we must know what is called population. So what is population? So population means universe. So for the research process, the researcher is going to collect the data from the respondents. If the researcher is going to use all the relevant items from the population or universe, it is called census inquiry. That is called population. So he is not omitting any of the respondents from the universe. He is including all the items in the universe. It is called census inquiry. Then what is sampling? So in the case of sampling, the researcher is selecting certain items from the population which are going to reflect the same nature in the universe or in the population. That is called sample. So the sample are going to reflect the same nature of population. So he is going to collect samples from the population. This is sampling method. So there are different type of sampling designs are existing. The sampling method is having two types. One is probability sampling. Another one is non-probability sampling. what is called probability sampling. So in the case of probability sampling, all the sample or all the items are included for sampling method. For example, the researcher wants to interact with 10 respondents which are available for his research work. If the researcher is going to include all these 10 samples for his research, then it is called probability sampling. In the case of non-probability sampling, the researcher can't collect data from all these 10 samples. He may get from 1 or 2 items. This is called non-probability sampling. So we can see one by one what are the probability sampling methods are available. So probability sampling means all the items are going to be included, they are going to get equal chances. So probability sampling means all the items are going to get equal chances to be included in the sampling method. So what are the methods are available under probability sampling? The first one is random sampling. So the name itself is explaining about what this type of sampling. It is a random sampling. So all the items are going to be selected randomly. So I can explain with an example. So you assume there is a bowl. We want to select some 20 students from a pool of 100 students. So there is a pool of 100 students. So I want to select 20 students from this pool. How I can select? So these 100 students are going to get equal chances to be selected. So that's why it is called random sampling. So first I am going to select 1. I got it 1. Then second. So the remaining 99 are going to get the equal chances to be selected. I took second one. Then the remaining 97 is also having an equal chances. That's why it is called the items are selected randomly. So this is one method of collecting sample. This method is called lottery method. Another one method is called using simple random number table. So simple random number table is available in our statistics books. We can go there and we can check that table to take the samples. So another one method is using generating our own random number table. How we can generate or create our own random number table? So this random number table creation method was developed by Tippett. So this scientist created a method which a researcher can himself develop his own random number table. For example, we can select any 2-digit number, the same number may be multiplied, then you are going to get. So you got 484. Again the same number is going to be multiplied, you are going to get another 6-digit number. So in the case of 484, the researcher can use 6-digit number, or he can go for the same 2-digit number, either first 2 or the last 2, he can create his own number table. For example, in the case, I can take first number and the last number, then I can develop. So the same way we are developing lot of numbers, and all these numbers are going to be tabulated. So we are going to create a table. So the table is going to be used when you are going to give numbers to the respondents. This is simple random number table which is generated by Tippett for the researchers. So random sampling, we can use random sampling using lottery method, random number table, or generating random number table by your own method. Then another one is systematic random sampling. So the word itself explaining the sampling method is going to be a systematic. In the case of researcher is going to see the items in a random, he is going to use a method of ith order. What is ith order? It is called ith order. The researcher don't want to go by a one by one method. So the researcher for the first one he is going to select. Then he is using a method of leaving 3 numbers. Then he is going to select the fifth one. Then he is going to leave another 3 numbers. Then he is going to select one number. So this is called systematic random sampling method. So in this case, the researcher is going to select the samples from a pool of population using systematic method. The next method is stratified random sampling. So stratified random sampling or strata. So this sampling method is going to be used when the population is not in a homogeneous group. So in the case of probability sampling, cluster sampling. So the researcher is going to select a big area. So it's very difficult for collecting samples from a big area, like country like India. How the researcher is going to take samples from India or the population of India size. So in the case of cluster sampling, the researcher is going to classify the population into small groups, or sometimes it is called cluster. So selecting a big population, then all these big populations are going to be subdivided into small groups or small clusters. So the researcher used clusters for selecting his sample size or sampling methods. Then multi-stage random sampling. So the name is itself explaining the sampling method is using different stages. Again, we can take a population of India. The researcher have a plan to collect data from the entire India. In this case, the researcher is going for multi-stage random sampling method. For example, the entire India is going to be classified into north part, south part, west part, and east part. In each part, the researcher is going to subdivide the area into maybe using cluster sampling method or judgmental sampling method. So based on different sampling methods, the researcher is going to use to collect the data for probability sampling method. I can give an example. For example, India today wants to study about the customers' satisfaction towards its magazine. So how they can go and collect the data. So it's very difficult to collect the data from entire population country like India. So in this case, they may use sampling methods, any one of these probability sampling method. So in this case, they can go for multi-stage random sampling. So the entire India is going to be classified into north, south, east, west. Then north part is going to be divided further using cluster sampling method. Then after classifying the cluster sampling method, the researcher may go for simple random sampling method. The second and biggest part is non-probability sampling method. So the name explains non-probability sampling in the sense the items in the research are not going to be get equal chances. So in the case of non-probability sampling, samples are not going to get equal chances. So it is having its own different methods. The first one is convenience sampling. What is convenience sampling? In the case of convenience sampling, the researcher is using his own convenience to collect the data from the respondents. I can give an example. For example, a researcher wants to collect data from 100 respondents from a street. So 100 respondents from a street. So a street consists of some 50 houses. The researcher may entering into the street and he may go and collect the data from first house. So there are 50 houses are available in the street. So based on the researcher's own convenience, he can go and collect data from first house, second house, third house, fourth house. If he reached the respondent size of 100, then he may come out. So in this case, the remaining houses are not going to get the equal chances. That's why convenience sampling is called non-probability sampling. Another one method is called judgmental sampling. So in this case of judgmental sampling, the researcher is having his own preference for selecting certain sample respondents. That's why it is called judgmental sampling. Another one method is called quota sampling method. So in this case of quota sampling method, the researcher is allocating certain quota system to the respondents group. So based on this quota, the respondents are going to be selected and collected data. So up to now we used 5 research steps, starting with formulating the research problem, literature survey, then developing our research design, then sampling design, then we are going for collection of data. So the data are going to be collected using the sampling methods. So using any one of probability sampling or non-probability sampling, the data are going to be collected from the respondents. So in the case of collection of data, how you can ask a question, how the data are going to be collected? There are different methods to collect the data. One is using primary data collection method. Another one is secondary data collection method. What is called primary data collection method? So the data which are collected through primary or first time data are going to be collected. In the case of secondary data, these data are already existed, are available ready-made in the market or available in the library resources. So how to collect primary data? The primary data may be collected using observation method, questionnaire method, interview method, schedule method. What is called observation method? So the researcher who is trying to collect data from the market or from an industry without disturbing the real setup, he is entering and he is observing the respondents where the data is going to be collected. For example, the researcher wants to collect the data from who are purchasing Arogya milk. So he is entering into the market, he is watching in a milk vending shop. He is waiting and watching how many respondents coming and purchasing the Arogya milk. So different milks are available in the market. How many of the respondents are purchasing Arogya milk alone? So this is observation method. If he is entering into an industry to understand about the behavior of the employees, then again he is not going to disturb, and he is closely observing the employees, how they are behaving for different situations. This is observation method. Second method is called questionnaire method. So questionnaire is a set of questions arranged in a proper sequence. So questions are arranged in a proper sequence for the questionnaire method. So this method is normally used by a researcher when he wants to collect the data and he don't want to interact with the employees or to the respondents. All these questions are arranged in a proper sequence. Later part we can see how to prepare a questionnaire. Third method is called interview method. So the researcher is going to collect data using an interview method. In this case, the researcher directly going to interact with the respondents and he may collect data, or he may have a ready-made questionnaire in his hand and he may collect the data from the respondents. This interview may be face-to-face interview or direct interview or telephonic interview. So in the case of telephonic interview, the researcher may get details over phone. The fourth method is schedule method. So sometimes it is very difficult for the researcher to go and collect the data from all the respondents. So he can appoint some enumerators instead of him to go and collect the data. So this is schedule method. So collection of data consists of two parts. One is primary data collection method, another one is secondary data collection method. Primary data may be collected using any one of these methods, maybe observation or questionnaire or interview or schedule method. So primarily the questionnaire or interview schedule method is used most of the time. So in the case of questionnaire, I said lot of questions are arranged in a proper sequence. So questions which may going to give details about the respondents. The data may be demographic data or what is the problematic area related questions. The questions may be open-ended questions or closed-ended questions. What is called open-ended question? So in this case of open-ended questions, the respondents are having their own chances to fill the question. For example, what is your preferred channel program? So in this case, the respondents may give different options for this question. He may say different channels. He may like English channels or Tamil channels. In this English channel, he may like different programs, or in Tamil channel, he may like different programs. So this question is giving wide area to the respondents to give response. In the case of closed-ended questions, the answers are already given by the researcher. So the researcher is giving answers, so the respondents have no chance. So he has to select or pick from the answers from the given question and answers itself. For example, which media you prefer? TV, radio, outdoor, print. If the researcher he himself is giving chances to the respondents to response, then the respondents have no chance. So he may select any one of this media which he is going to prefer. So a respondent may prefer TV media or radio media or outdoor media or print media based on his own chances. So another method is Dichotomous method. So you know it, Dichotomous method. So in this Dichotomous method, yes, no type of questions are asked. Do you like sweet? If it is a question, do you like sweet? So in this case, the respondents have no chance to give an elaborate answer. So he has to select either yes or no. So these are the some questions method which are available in the questionnaire. The next method is secondary data. The secondary data are going to be collected from internet sources, internet or online sources, from the library, books, magazines, CDs, etc. So I already explained what is secondary data. Secondary data are the data which are already existed in the universe. So the researcher have to go and identify which are relevant to his research problems. So he can get the data from internet or online sources, from the library, using books or magazines or CDs, which are going to give some basic info towards the research. The next step is analyzes the data. So after collecting the data through different methods, the data are going to be analyzed using SPSS, Statistical Package for Social Science, or using MS Excel method. Other different softwares are available to analyze the data. So the researcher has to collect the data from the relevant area, then he has to enter all the data into the software SPSS or MS Excel to analyze further. So how to enter the data into the SPSS or MS Excel? So here they may use coding, editing and tabulation method. So we can see one by one what is coding, what is editing and what is tabulation. This method may be used in the field itself. When the researcher is going to give questionnaire and going to collect the data, he can edit himself at the time of interaction itself with the respondents, or sometimes later part when he is going to coding, he can use this editing method. What is coding? So the respondents collected data from 100 respondents using questionnaire method. We assume a single questionnaire consists of some 25 questions. So the researcher has to enter 100 questionnaires, that is 100 questionnaires, 100 into 25. So 2500 data are going to be entered into SPSS or MS Excel method. So for all the data, the researcher is going to code first. So for example, a questionnaire. In a questionnaire, the first question is normally it is going to check about the name of the respondents, then about the gender, then the researcher, the respondent is married or not. For our coding purpose, we can take any one of this. So gender, male or female. So out of this 100 respondents, how many respondents are male, how many respondents are going to be female. So the researchers first work is going to check all the 100 questionnaires and identify how many respondents are male, how many respondents are female. For this purpose, he is going to take the first questionnaire and he is going to check whether he is a male or female. If the respondent is a male, he is going to put a line like this. He is taking the second questionnaire. Second question, if it is a female, then he is going to draw a line like this. That is, he is coding it. Third questionnaire, he is going to get male. Fourth questionnaire, again he is going to get a male. So like that way he is going further. Once he is going to reach the fifth male, he is going to cross like this. So the same way he is going to do further analysis. So he is going to code all the 100 respondents. So this is called coding method. After all the 100 questionnaires are entered like that, he is going to get some 55 male respondents and 45 female respondents. So this is called coding method. Once the data are going to be coded, then these are decoded. Now you can ask a question, sir, what is the role of editing? If something is entered wrongly here itself, then he can edit or he can correct it. So that is called editing method. Once the data are going to be derived from coding and editing, then he is going to be tabulated the data into a table form. So in this case, he check how many respondents are male or female. So he wants to check the gender details. So from the analysis we can found it, there are 55 male and 45 female. So he is going to convert into percentage. So 55% of male respondents are there in the case of 100 respondents. Then the remaining are 45 female respondents. So this is analysis of data using editing, coding and tabulation method. So in modern day, the researchers are using SPSS software to analyze the data, which is easily available to get the final output. So after the researcher is going for analysis, then he has to check the hypothesis. So in the second stage, we developed our own hypothesis. So in the latter part, we are going to test whether our assumption is correct or not. So these hypotheses are going to be tested using different parametric and non-parametric tests. So different parametric tests are available. We can use it from SPSS. For example, non-parametric test we are using normally chi-square test. In the case of parametric test, we are using t-test, ANOVA, f-test. So in our SPSS software, there are more than 200 various types of tests are available. So the researcher can go and use any parametric or non-parametric test. So after hypothesis testing, the researcher is going to prepare the report. So prepare the report is a toughest part, because they have to go through one by one all the steps, then he has to come into this final stage of preparing the report. So the report is having lot of steps. The first step is preliminary pages. So it is not numbered in a sequential order. Then he is having his own introductions. Then he is having his main text. Then he is having his own findings, suggestions, conclusions, then appendix. So in the case of introduction, the researcher is going to give basic data relevant to the topic. In the case of main text, which is giving a broader area of extensive literature survey or review of literature, then the data are analyzed using tabulation and interpretation. Then findings, suggestions, conclusions, and appendix. In the case of appendix, the research questionnaire is added, then bibliography or reference section is added. So all these steps are explaining how step by step a research going to be carried out. Now I am going to explain how to prepare a questionnaire to collect the data. So we assume the problem is existing in a marketing area. So whenever we are going to check or analyze the problem, we have to check the area of the problem. It may be in marketing or in HR or in finance or in production. So in our example, I select marketing area. Here we are going to check the influence of media for the purchasing behavior. So I am going to study the influence of media for the purchasing behavior of toothpaste in Dindigul district or Dindigul town. So my first idea is I have to develop my hypothesis. This is the second stage of my research step. The first stage is formulating the research problem. So I already identified the problem area. I want to check how many of the respondents are purchasing toothpaste due to the influence of different medias. Now I have my hypothesis or my assumption. I believe TV media is influencing the customers towards toothpaste. So my hypothesis is TV is influencing. So my role is I want to cross check whether TV media is actually influencing or any other media like print media or outdoor media or some other medias are influencing. So the third stage is using research design. So research design is a systematic way how the research is going to be proceed further. So I have different research designs, sir. I can use different research designs. It may be descriptive, explorative or diagnostic. But in the case of influence of media for purchasing behavior of toothpaste, I am using descriptive research. You can ask why I am using descriptive research, because I am not going to find anything new idea or new insights. Already the customers are using this toothpaste brands, so now I want to check it whether media is influencing for their purchasing behavior. So I want to check the respondents through descriptive research manner. That is, the factors are already available, existing in the market. I want to collect the data and I want to finalize and produce my report. So descriptive research design. The next method is sampling design. So as a researcher, I can go for probability sampling or a non-probability sampling. But once I decided I want to entering into the market of Dindigul district, so I have my own limitations. I have time constraints or money constraints, and majority of the time is the major factor. So I have to consider convenient sampling method. Because according to my own convenience, I can collect the data from the respondents. I decided my sample size is 100. So I already decided using my sample size is 100. I am not using any scientific method to select my sample size. I decided by myself 100 is enough for my research topic. Then I am going to use methods of data collection. So different methods are available for collecting the data. In this case, I am going to use questionnaire. So that is the important method I am going to use to collect questionnaire. So now I am going to explain how to prepare a questionnaire. So I said already, questionnaire is a sequentially the questions are arranged. So the first question is name, age, gender, so age, it may be classified into gender, male, marital status, they may be married, unmarried, widow, widower. So like this way you can classify further. Less than 5,000, so we can start to filling the to collect the data using these questions from the respondents. These questions are giving the basic details about the respondents, demographic details and geographic details. Then educational qualification. So educational qualification may be collected like up to 10th standard, plus 2, UG, PG, postgraduates and others. So these basic questions are giving the demographic details. Then you can identify the address or the location of the respondent. Normally you can collect it from the name itself, name and address, or you can specifically you want to check the location of the respondents in town or village. Sometimes you can cross check whether they belong to urban area or rural area or semi-urban area. Number of persons in the family. So this question helps to identify how many respondents are using your own brand or product. So number of persons in your family, so less than 2 or 3 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 and above. Why we ask this question or included this question? So this question may lead the researcher that in the case of toothpaste, how many respondents are using the same toothpaste brand? If more than 6 persons are in the family, then how many respondents are using the same brand or different brand? For that purpose, we included this question. So our aim is to identify the influence of media. So after the basic questions, we are going to cross check that problem related questions. So straight away entering into the problem area. Otherwise you can ask some more questions, whether you are watching TV, which TV you are having it, what are the channels you are watching, which advertisement is influencing. So I straight away entering into the questions, which media is influencing you to go for purchasing toothpaste. So you are giving different media options: TV media, print media, outdoor media. So the researcher may select any one of this media. If it is TV media, which advertisement influences you to go for a specific brand? So we ask this question because we are going to cross check TV media, print media, outdoor media one by one. If it is TV media, which advertisement influence you to go for toothpaste brand? So we are going to give different advertisements, because normally companies are telecasting different advertisements. So based on different advertisements, whether it is launched 2 months back or current advertisements are 1 year back, which advertisements you are watched and which influences you to go for that specific brand selection. The same way we are going to check in print media and advertisement, in outdoor advertisement. So this give the basic ideas how the respondents are going to give answers to different medias and how these media advertisements are influencing the customers to go for specific toothpaste brand. So in our case, we are not specifically mentioning any toothpastes. So that's why I generalized the toothpastes. If you specifically want to check Colgate toothpaste or Pepsodent or any other toothpaste, then you can go further deep into the questionnaire. So if we are going to check the questionnaire with using scaling method, different scalings are also available. Okay. So the data are going to be collected using questionnaires. Then the data are going to be tabulated using editing, coding method. So the data are edited, coding, then tabulated for analysis. Now I am going to test my hypothesis. So my assumption is TV is influencing. So from the questionnaire, I want to cross check how many of the respondents are going to say TV media or TV media's advertisement is influencing. We assume 70% of the respondents are accepting TV is the influencing media, then my hypothesis is going to be proved. So this way we can go further. Then preparing the report. So after hypothesis tested using different testing methods, t-test or chi-square test, I can draw my own conclusions. It is going to be further reported. Thank you.